All right, we are going to have another incredible conversation. Thank you to those ladies. They're so amazing. And when we get women in with diverse perspectives, it makes all of us better. It's so fun to hear just the different cross sections. So, but this is an incredible leader, Prime Minister Helen Clark, who has really just has done incredible, had an incredible career, has made incredible changes. And I think for us, it's important to hear about those changes in this room of women at Davos, to feel it, to hear about it from you, and also the practicality of it, because I think there's so many things that you can teach us. And so let's just start with that a little bit about you. And
Well, good morning, everybody. And sorry to be about 3 minutes late, but you pack in a lot at Davos. And because I have so many diverse interests, I tend to be running from global health to women's equality to geopolitics to...
well, I'm sure you get stopped along the way quite a bit, so we're honored to have you here.
We'll fit it all in here. But just sort of picking up on the point you made, there's no big job I've ever been in, and I've been in a few, where you didn't face quite daunting challenges. And so you can't solve them with just one wave of a magic wand, right? You have to say, well, what are the steps I could take which would make some kind of difference here?
Right.
So my approach is always to try and deconstruct a challenge and then say, well, where's the role that or what are the steps that I could take in the position I've got? And I mean, I don't, these days I help, good causes. I'm taken on the chair of Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, from the 1st of January for my sins. Could there be a worse time to be taking on this chair, because global health financing's gone over a cliff? Those of you from the United States will know that your health secretary isn't particularly keen on vaccines.
Yes, we've heard that.
So the US has gone from being a major funder of Gavi to zero.
Yes.
Right? So these are very challenging times, but how do we make the most of what we've got while we've got it to make a difference for those 14.5 million children out there who have never had as much as a single dose of any vaccine at all? And, of course, are incredibly exposed to the childhood diseases that all of us here in this room, I guess, have been lucky enough to be protected against. So, yeah, deconstruct the problem, see what you can do with the resources you've got and the skills you've got at the time.
It's so smart. And I think, we were hearing earlier, I think it was from Carolina, and, we were really hearing about the problems that exist and kind of, again, deconstructing them, but also how do we use either, women as advocates and allies, but also men, and so when we deconstruct the problem, then what's that first step typically look like for you?
Well, for the role of women, I think we need to be quite fearless, because what have we got to lose? Look, one of the many issues I'm following at the moment is the absolute scandal of the Uganda election, right? Absolute scandal. Look, when I was a young Prime Minister in 2000, probably 2001, because something delayed the holding of a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. But I then met President Museveni. He's still there. I'm years out of being New Zealand PM. He's just sort of taken a 9th term in office. The first 2 weren't elected at all. He's now in his 80s. Look, in the early days, probably did quite a good job of stabilising after the nightmare of Idi Amin and the rest of it. But the people want change. The young people want change. Now, I'll come to the theme of women, because my colleague Winnie Byanyama, who now leads UNAIDS and used to be at UNDP with me and was once a minister in Uganda and was in the guerrilla forces that President Museveni led when they were challenging Amin. Her husband has suffered arbitrary detention and torture for years in Uganda. He's going through it again. She's been out there publicly supporting Bobby Wine, the pop star turned politician who's taken on Museveni. She's so brave, because life is cheap when people are desperate to hold on to power and will use the power of the state. So, just look at Winnie, who stands there, just so proud and certain, and says, I'm not going to be silent through this. I'm going to speak up. I'm not going to waver. So I think, we look to those role models of women who say, no, I'm going to stand my ground here. And, if I don't, what use is my voice if I don't use it? So, yeah, but I mean, in deconstructing and starting with the first steps, I mean, if I use the Gavi example again, we will hold a retreat of the board at the end of March, and we have to confront the realities that development financing is probably never going to come back to the level that it was, right? Right. So what is the path from here? What is the path of the big global funds? I say in small letters because there is a global fund, the global fund for AIDS, TB and malaria as well. Everyone's facing these issues. And I think we have a period now where we have to plan the maximum support to countries to be able to survive without the Western donor dollar for the most part, because it's not coming back. But then countries also generally want to be free of it anyway. They want to make their own decisions, set their own priorities and move forward. So how can we be part of that process at this time?
Yeah, it's really challenging.
Yeah, and there is at this Davos, by the way, President Mahama of Ghana is coming, and he's bringing the big idea that he's launched called the Accra Reset. African health sovereignty being asserted, but it's being broadened to development sovereignty generally. And they're saying, we're moving on. We're moving on with the resources. We've got to do what we can. Are you with us? Come with us. And there'll be quite an interesting session on that on Thursday.
Okay. So lots to watch here.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's really interesting when you talk about watching women that are brave, that are unwavering. In many times, we feel like we don't have many of those examples. And so that can feel depleting. And again, it's so encouraging to hear your stats in sports, or to hear, obviously, from these young women that spoke on the stage today. They give such a bright hope for the future.
Yeah. And those women, so many women are out there. I mean, congratulations. I've followed the Saudi athletes, women coming to the fore, going where no women from your country have been before. It's just so inspiring. And in cases of other women who've stood up. I mean, look at Hillary. Hillary's been under attack since she was the First Lady of Arkansas, and she still stands there with a punch. Yeah. I see the Republicans are after her now, wanting her to testify on the Epstein issues. Hello? Yeah, I mean, this is persecution, but she stands there. Yeah, she does. Incredible.
She's incredible. Yeah. No, I mean, we do have leaders, and I think it's important for us to keep telling those stories, especially when we may not be aware of them, when they may not be local, and they might be on a global stage. And again, social media, of course, helps us with that, as does technology and AI. But really, it's sharing those stories, empowering one another, and really, it's about bringing other women up, whether you may know their story or not, right? It's how can we make that advancement?
Yeah. Well, look, for example, at the tragic situation in Iran, and there's a particular woman who I follow her fate on Twitter, is X, and she's a Nobel Peace Prize winner. She's been detained for years in terrible circumstances, and those women still stand there. Some also from your own country, Saudi Arabia. They still stand there, no matter what's thrown at them. They're still standing there and saying, we have a right to equality.
Right. Yeah, it's incredible. Share some other, because we're so lucky to have you and have your time here. What are you excited about to hear at Davos, and what should we all be watching for?
Isn't there a helicopter coming on Wednesday?
That there is.
Although my sister, when I phoned her in New Zealand this morning, said there's speculation now that the helicopter won't come because of the row with Europe. And has everyone seen the tweet today about the letter that went to the Norwegian Prime Minister?
No.
That said, your country denied me the Nobel Peace Prize, and I've already solved 8 conflicts, and I deserved it, and I'm sick of you all now. And I mean, it would be funny if it wasn't tragic. But yeah, I mean, who would have thought we'd see the day when the French and the Germans would rush troops to Greenland to defend it? So, I mean, it could be a bit heated here at Davos, and apparently the Europeans are preparing a sort of tariffs package themselves if there's not some backing off Greenland. But I don't know. I mean, I think there'd be, if you Google, is Trump coming to Davos, you'll see all these headlines. Trump will dominate Davos. Well, let's not let him dominate Davos. Let's let conversations like this, conversations on health, conversations on climate, be the ones that are important, not that particular sideshow.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think conversations like this and kicking off Davos with women in this room, women who are sitting and are part of the conversation, women who are on stage, young female leaders taking the stage so bravely. Thank you for all the work you do. Thank you for World Women for bringing this front and center. And thank you, Prime Minister, for being here.
Thank you. Thanks.